Hello, everyone. Welcome to Intro to Engineering. I am your professor, Corey Nesbitt. You can just call me Professor Nesbitt or Mr. Nesbitt or Professor Corey. Either will work with me. Um, Today, we're going to be covering Chapter 1. Chapter 1. I'm going to share my screen really fast. Righty. So before we jump into it, I just want to give you a little introduction. I already have an introduction. Not sure if you all are going to watch it, but there is one. It's in the content folder. As soon as you click on the content folder on the Blackboard, my self-introduction is there. But I want to let you know that I am a working engineer. And the reason why I bring that up is because it's befitting for this lesson. And Chapter 1 covers everyday engineering. But it also goes into a lot of different things, such as, you know, slides, such as what is the difference between choosing a career and choosing a major? Why do I want to do what do I want to do the rest of my life? And what do I want to study for the next 4 years? Choosing engineer as a career. So I'm telling you that I am a working engineer because I could be of service to you as far as giving you maybe some insight on what engineering is like, but some of you may have parents as an engineer, so you may already know. Others may not. But being a working engineer, I'm definitely here to give you any type of insight or advice that I can on what it's like being an engineer. I've been working as an engineer for the past 16, a little over 16 years, nearly 16 and a half years. I've worked in oil and gas now. I'm in oil and gas working as an engineer, mechanical, currently. And I've been working in oil and gas for a little over 9 years. Before that, I worked at NASA Johnson Space Center, and I was a contractor. I wasn't a field servant, civil servant. I was a contractor, but I worked on site at Johnson Space Center, and I have my own test facility. So I have a lot broader range of experience, from testing to designing to research and development. You name it, I've done it. So, anywho, usually when I was teaching on campus, I would always have my students introduce themselves, but there are discussion boards. Since this class is online, you can all just tell me a little bit about yourself there. And just keep in mind that we interact through Blackboard, and then also I'll send out emails through your Sanjak email addresses. So that's how we'll coordinate. And if you ever want to have a meeting with me, please send me an email and we'll set up a virtual meeting over Blackboard or over Zoom. So I will definitely assist you in any way I can. So now back to the lecture. Why engineering? Why choose engineering? Well, when I was in school, high school, I chose engineering because my professors, they said I would be a great candidate for engineering. All right. Why was that? Well, because of my grades in math and science. And I love math, and science was cool, but I really love math. I did like experiments from my science classes, though. I love doing experiments, whether it was chemistry or biology or not social, or physics. I enjoyed the labs, just trying to figure out why things are working, trying to figure out how to improve things that are currently existing, right? And that was just what I enjoy doing. So for those of you that are chosen engineering and are considering engineering, those are some things that you might want to think about. Do you enjoy figuring out things? Do you enjoy improving things that currently exist? Or do you enjoy what my teachers told me, my physics teacher, the exact, told me that engineers solve the world's problem. That's what engineers do. And there are tons of disciplines as far as engineering goes. And this chart here sort of gives you a breakdown of that. And it also tells you certain industries. So like general, energy and industry, things where you could career paths as far as engineering that it take you. When you say energy and industry, that's really broad, right? But you think about energy as far as chemical plants, really not so much energy, but you can chemical plants. You use a lot of different chemicals to create a lot of different materials. But energy, when you think about energy, you think about electricity. You think about electrical power. You think about nuclear as far as energy. Industry is a broad, really a broad thing, because I work currently in industry. And so the industry I work in is oil and gas. But the point of this table is to basically let you know certain career paths you could take as far as machines. It's typically going to be biomedical, it's going to be mechanical, it's going to be electrical. And as engineers, when you think about these industries or these career paths, you think about things you may want to do, like such as, do you like the design? Do you like doing research and development? Do you like testing, which is also a part of research and development? Another thing too is what most times you don't see on these career paths, and I don't see it, but project management. You can be any one of these particular engineers, choose any one of these disciplines as an engineer and become a project manager. A lot of engineers go off and get their MBA. And honestly, they either go into sales manager or they'll go into sales director where it's more application, where you know the product, you understand the product, and you're in front of a lot of people or customers trying to sell this particular product. So project management is also a field that you could go into as far as engineering. And so this is also a great thing here, right? It's NAE Grand Challenges for Engineers. And like I said, what do engineers do? What is an engineer? An engineer is a person that uses math and science to solve the world's problems, right? What kind of problems? Well, Grand Challenges for Engineers. We go there really quick. Here, this website, it basically shows you a lot of different problems the world currently is facing and how engineers are trying to rectify or remedy, right, or resolve these issues. You remember COVID, right? Everybody remembers the COVID, the crisis from that, and the many engineers and how they helped to, mitigate that issue. And there are so many other issues around the world that are happening that engineers are sticking their hands in to help resolve those issues. And that's what we mean by problem solving. Like, what are crises that the world is facing? What kind of pandemics that we are facing? And engineers get their hands in using technology, using science, using math to help resolve those issues. I always like to talk about in my intro classes back in the day, before computers, before cars, even, there was a time before cars. I know many of you are like, what? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Even before horse and buggy, there were vehicles. There was a means to travel. The issue was okay. We need to travel places, right? And so, how do we get there? Whether you're on land or on the water, on sea, and so some engineers got together and they came up with vehicles to use on land. First, the thing that they probably used was an animal, right? Use animals to travel, and it's not just travel, right? It's traveling quickly, because if it takes you a day, right? It takes you a day. If we live in Houston, it takes me a day to get from Rosenberg to Houston, right? Like, I know it wouldn't take a day, right? But from Rosenberg to Houston on foot would probably take me a couple hours to walk. Now imagine if I needed to go from Rosenberg to the Woodlands, how long it would take me. It would probably take me about 8 hours to get to the Woodlands from Rosenberg on foot. And then you think about going across the country on foot. And that would take, I mean, it takes 20 hours to drive from Rosenberg to Virginia, Prince George, Virginia. Imagine walking from Rosenberg to Prince George, Virginia. You know, our lifespan is not that long. You would spend more time walking than you would be doing anything. And but at once upon a time, that's what people did. They walked. But you know, some cases, people think that people live longer in those days. I am one to think so as well. But that in our time today would be very difficult. And also how the world is so stressed out. How will we get to go overseas and enjoy vacations over there, get to certain islands? You know, there would be, you know, how would we trade? How would we exchange goods? You know, so we had to come up with vehicles, whether it would be a boat to go by sea, now air, you know, but engineers played a part and had their hands in developing those things for society, right? And that's what I mean by solving the world's problems. And again, go please visit this website so that you could see what all engineers are doing. And truly, that wraps up this lesson. The rest of the slides, which are on Blackboard, they just discuss different careers, and it just goes into different careers and different types of disciplines for engineering, and how just really just how they work, what industries they are in, how that may benefit you as far as choosing your career in engineering. And so please visit those sites. There was one other thing that I wanted to cover. Maybe not. No. Let's see here. Another thing, though, that's not in my slides that I will mention is organizations. Uh, please join an organization. Please, because organizations are good. You know, they help you get experience for as a young engineer. When I say organizations such as ASME, which is Association of Mechanical Society for Engineering. And then you got things like SWE. What is SWE? I don't remember what SWE stands for, but it's an organization for women engineers. Then it's one for Spanish-speaking engineers. Then you got NSBE, National Society of Black Engineers. It's so many different organizations you could join, and when you get those organizations on your resumes, companies love to see that. Not just because you're there, but also because maybe you're an officer, and it just shows that you're not just doing schoolwork. You know, you're out trying to get an understanding of how engineering works and how you can contribute. You know, it's just a better form to learn. So I highly recommend it. And also, too, as an engineer, there are things. Another thing which is not in my slides, and but as engineers, and we'll probably cover this later on in this semester. As engineers, you could become a professional engineer. But when you first graduate, you get your EIT. You can take a test that will give you those credentials. And engineering in training is what EIT stands for. And then after about, I think it's 6 years now, but 6 years of experience. And please look it up. You could become a professional engineer. Get your PE. And a lot of that benefits you in ways that where you could start your own engineering firm. Stamp off on designs and things like that. So just another thing to think about. But thank you. That's the conclusion of chapter 1. Thank you for listening. We'll see you for chapter 2.